What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Sally's Speed Shop, and this is a pretty special one. A lot of people have been asking what happened to the Green Hornét, and well, as you can see, it's been sitting, languishing away outside, unfortunately, but I'm just gonna say it's been improving the patina that was already on it. For those who don't know this car is a very special one to me because this is really the car that I really got involved in the industry with. I bought this back in 2015 when I went out to California for the Roadkill Nation Challenge, and I knew I was going to be meeting Freiberger and Finnegan, and I wanted to make an impression. So I did what they did. They fly across the country, buy a car, and try to drive it home. And here's what I ended up with. I paid $1,350 for it, drove it the whole week I was out in California, and then drove it 2,200 miles home in just 3 days using 28 quarts of oil. And ultimately, it was the first article I ever wrote and went in Roadkill magazine. One thing led to another. I started working with Finnegan and Finnegan's Garage, and then ended up at Hot Rod magazine. But on its move back across the country, when I was leaving California to come back here to Georgia, it unfortunately finally threw a rod in the straight six, and here it has kind of sat ever since. So it's been languishing away for far too long. It looks really sad, and I hate looking at it sitting here. So we're gonna drag it out, get it cleaned up, and get started putting the Hemi in it, because that was always the plan for this thing. Blow up the straight six and put a Hemi in it. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get it fired up, move it up to the driveway. And yes, I did say I'm gonna get it fired up. It runs, even with a thrown rod. Straight sixes, man, they're tough. But we're gonna pull it up on the driveway, get it all cleaned up, and then put it in the shop and start tearing it apart and building a really ridiculous hot rod out of this thing. So I gotta run to the shop and grab a drive shaft for it, because when I pulled the drive shaft out, I lost some parts and pieces. So I'm just gonna go steal one from another Hornet we have, toss it in this thing, dump some gas down its throat, and see what happens. So stay tuned, this is gonna be a good one. Well, just got over to the shop, and I gotta say, this car over here is so much nicer. What's up, Mopes? How you doing? Than the OG Green Hornét. So this is what we call the clean Hornét, which is essentially the exact same car, just with a 232 inline six instead. And it's beautiful. This is all original paint, original interior. I mean, even the bright work on this car is just pristine. Which is crazy because this car came out of Michigan. It's only got 69,000 original miles on it. And the reason I'm showing you this is because I'm here to steal the drive shaft out of this thing. Because when I flat towed the Hornet home, I lost the caps for the U-joint. So I don't have a good U-joint on that thing. So I'm just gonna steal the drive shaft out of this car. And that way I can pull the OG Green Hornét out of the backyard and get to cleaning it. But yeah. This is what it would look like if I restored it, which we are not gonna do, right, bud? Because patina is cool. Moby likes the patina. He's starting to get a little patina himself. But anyway, I'm gonna jump under this thing and yank the drive shaft out of it. And then it's back to the car, dump some gas down its throat, fire it up, and see what happens. Hopefully it still fires up. We'll see. Well, there we go. Got the drive shaft out. It did fight me a little bit because it's been in there for 50 years, but got it out, and now I can use it on the other wagon. So there we go. We'll get loaded up and head back to the house, and see if we can get that thing fired up. I gotta grab a battery and some gasoline, and then we'll be good to go. Well, we're back at the car, and I guess I owe you guys a walk around to this thing. Man, it looks so pitiful with all this moss and stuff on it and leaves piled up on the roof. Yeah. This is, I'm not proud of this one, but it's okay. We'll make it better. You can see here on the back window, there's a 4, and this was the sticker that some highway patrol put on to say that your car needs removed in 48 hours or we're gonna tow it. This was July 4th, 2019. So 3 years ago, this car broke to the point where I couldn't use it anymore, but I did manage to get it fired up again. And it still does burnouts even on 4 cylinders because it actually chucked a lifter out of cylinder number 5. And that's because this fell off on my drive back across the country. This rocker arm pulled out and was loose in the head. So as a result, push rod got chucked out, and then the lifter got chucked out. So it was running no oil pressure ever since then. We stopped and tried to fix it at Flying Sparks Garage with Emily and Aaron, but had no luck. So I drove it like, I had 700 miles left and I had no oil pressure. I had oil volume, but with the lifter being out of the bore because of this, it was just dumping oil. And it made it 500 of those 700 miles before it threw rod number 1. You could see this rod broke apart. That's the bottom end. There's the top end of the connecting rod. There's a little piece of piston. Yeah, that's always good. And yeah, there's the rod bolts. They're actually still intact. See, one's still actually in the rod end, but I threw a rod and I had to drag it the rest of the way home behind the Tundra. So there's a little bit of the history of why it doesn't run, but it runs on 4 cylinders now, because cylinder number 5 is dead because of the lifter being pushed out of its bore. Cylinder number 1 is dead because it threw a rod, but it still runs on 4. And we're gonna fire it up for you and let you hear it. It's gonna be wild. Anyway, let's get started. I'm gonna crawl under it first thing and put in the drive shaft, and then basically pop the hood, show you what's going on, and dig into it a little more. But man, this thing looks pitiful. God, it's terrible. See the Walker Brothers AMC license plate frame from where this thing was bought. It's got a City of Los Angeles parking permit. This is a AAA SoCal little sticker. It's seen better days. And all these stickers on the car are things it has taken part in. So Roadkill Nation Challenge, it was a part of that, so it's got a big Roadkill banner. Basically, I'm in this group called the Patina League. It's cruised Route 66. My buddy Jeff from Alloy Motors has helped with this thing. Emily and Aaron at Flying Sparks Garage. Here's an OG Sally Speed Shop Los Angeles sticker. Brock Yates Memorial Fun and C2C Express was where we cannonballed this thing from New York to LA. 2 Hot Rod Power Tours. My friends at Odyssey Battery sponsored this car, so it's got their sticker. We got Shreddy Life from where I won the Burnout Contest in 2017 on Power Tour. Obviously, my buddy FSM, where we put nitrous on this thing in his garage. Finnegan Speed Marine. Rutledge Wood. I used to build his cars. He has ragged me about this car a lot of different times, so his sticker's on there. Obviously, we got Sally Speed Shop, the Green Hornét logo, the Holly Equip sticker, and another C2C and a Cannonball Memorial Run sticker. So yeah, this car has done some stuff. Oh, and you can't forget the Hoonigan. Daily Transmission episode 40 something, I think. This car went to Hoonigan's place and ripped a burnout on their loading dock and actually blew up the tire to the point where I dented my quarter panel. Yep. Anyway, so let's dig into this thing. I'm gonna crawl under it, put the drive shaft in, and then pop the hood and see what we're dealing with. As always, we've got Moby supervising over here. Just got the hood out of the way. Whew. Man, this is a disaster. This truly looks terrible. Oh, this hurts me. I believe the block is cracked on this thing, which would explain why there's no coolant in it whatsoever. Probably all in the oil pan, which is not ideal. Oh yeah, look at that milkshake. See if you guys can see that. Woo! Definitely getting some water into the oil. Luckily, I don't care because it doesn't make oil pressure anyway. So that slurry will do just fine. We're just gonna pretend we didn't see that and just stick that right back in there. Yep, nothing wrong there. Let me show you what's going on in here. Yep, this is an absolute mess. See, there's leaves everywhere. Freaking so many spider webs. This is crazy. There have been a bunch of bugs that have taken over my car, apparently. Look at that. That is ridiculous. I mean, geez, how gross is that? But as you can see, the AMC Straight 6 is still in here and has all its goodies still on it. So the direct port injection nitrous fogger system is still plumbed into the manifold. There are the solenoids for it. This thing even has EGTs on each individual runner of the exhaust. I mean, this thing is fancy. You can see our little standalone fuel system, fuel pump, and fuel cell for the wet side of the nitrous. We've got an MSD 6AL-2 box with an MSD billet ready to run distributor and a master blaster coil, as well as MSD plug wires, Champion radiator, Holley 4-barrel carburetor, comp cam, Clifford Performance intake and exhaust. Yeah, my buddy Ken Robinson actually sent me this intake and the carburetor that's on it because he got tired of trying to sell it, so I traded him a couple t-shirts for it. See what the carburetor looks like, if anything's built a nest in here. Oh, it still looks pretty good. My buddy Daniel Boshiers actually rebuilt this the day before I left for California. Of course, no fuel in it, but we'll get this cleaned up a little bit, get some leaves out of the way so we don't catch anything on fire, and drop a battery in here, see if she'll run. It's not gonna run good, but I bet it'll still run. So, first things first, let's toss a battery in this thing. Hopefully this one fits. Seems a little on the large side. Oh goodness, might need to grab a different battery. Yeah, this battery's way too big. But I think it'll ride there. We're not going any long distances or anything. Don't know why that's chewed through. I think that was for my fans that no longer exist, so it'll be fine. Yeah, this was all for those electric fans I ran on the Cannonball. So I'm just gonna remove it because that electric fan is what cost me my record. So if I get rid of this, I don't have to look at it and be annoyed. So many leaves. All right, let's try that again. Now that all that extra junk is out of the way, I think we're gonna be in much better shape. Oh yeah. Not perfect, but it'll do the trick. Not going anywhere for this test. All right, battery cable reaches, just barely. How about this guy? Ooh, we got some sparks. Hasn't caught on fire yet, so that's a good sign. Let's see if there's anything going on the inside. Found the keys for this thing. I had to dig a little bit. There's a little keychain that Amy Tashima made. A little nitrous bottle. Super cute little keys. Let's check out the inside of this thing. Oh, the radio's on. Man, it is so gross in here. It smells quite awful. I am not a fan. Oh, it smells terrible. But check it out. Radio's working. Sweet. So I'm gonna turn that off because I don't want it doing anything. Nitrous kit. Oh, the solenoid still works for the purge. Got my oil pressure gauge, tack, wideband. Oh, this is kind of cool. This is a thing I use to add oil while driving on the Cannonball run. But let's turn the key. Ooh, we got a tack light. Wideband's kicking on. So I'd say the thing still has some life left in it. Oh, dude, the dome light still works. Man. Oh, we even got the in and out Torrance cruise night. Trish made this, that's cool. The Banks eye dash, oh, it's still working. There was some fancy stuff on this car, but got it in park. Oh, I might need a better connection for this thing to turn over. But stuff is working, so that's a good sign. Let's do some more stuff under the hood. Oh, here's a fun fact. As you can see, cylinder number 5 is unplugged, and cylinder number 5 is not hooked to anything. And then cylinder number 1 actually doesn't even have a spark plug in it because the piston is just stuck up in the bore. But I think we're about ready to just dump some gas down the carburetor. I'm gonna fill up the float bowl through the vent tubes, and we'll just turn it over and see if it fires off. And then we'll worry about putting some air in the tires and seeing if this thing actually moves. So one of my favorite tools for reviving an old car is actually just a water bottle with a little hole poked in the cap, and that allows you to basically come in here. So as you can see, you can just fill the float bowl directly, and that way the car can actually run off of what's in the carburetor rather than just what you dump into the intake manifold. So let you run it a little bit longer and hopefully pull some fuel from the tank, which honestly I have no idea if there's even any gas left in this tank, so we'll have to find out about that too. Well, let's just do this and see if it lights off. Fingers crossed. All right, got the keys. Let's see if this thing has any life left in it at all. I'm kind of curious. Ooh, I forgot how broken the seat was. Oh, it's gonna run. It sounds terrible. I think it needs a little more gas, but I think it's gonna run. It sounded like it wanted to. So ridiculous. All right, let's see if we can fill this float bowl up a little better. Oh. Take two. Well, that's insane. Got a little vibration considering it's running on with a thrown rod, but it still runs. That is nuts. I'm gonna put a little bit of coolant in it, I think, and see if it'll sit here and actually warm up a little bit, and then I'll see if it'll move. So this thing doesn't need to run much longer, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a little water in it just to hopefully try to keep it moderately cool. And I'm just really filling up the oil right now based on what the dipstick looks like. I don't see any water pouring out anywhere, so I guess the freeze floats are still okay. Well, it's not dumping any water out, but it's still taking a bunch. So I'll just let that run for a minute, and then I think I'm just gonna put the cap on loosely so it doesn't pressurize, so it's less likely to actually transfer water to the oil. Not that it matters really, but you know, because I care. All right, we'll call that good enough for now. Oh no! I think I've been filling up the engine with water. Oh, that's not good. That's really bad. All right, I'm gonna drain the radiator because that's not what I want. So there is a massive hole somewhere apparently. Oh goodness, this just got complicated. So what I'm gonna do is pop loose this lower radiator hose and drain everything out that I just put in. I probably shouldn't have put any water in, but I was being optimistic. All right, that is unfortunate. So let's get all of that out of there that we can. And I don't know what I'm gonna do about all the water that's now in the oil pan. The real question is, why do I care? It doesn't matter. It'll just help keep it cool. When you go to check the oil, normally, you know, you have oil on your dipstick, but check it out. We have water coming out of the freaking dipstick tube. That's a disaster. Oh no. The real question is, what happens when I run it how it is? It's gonna make an absolute mess. But we're getting all the water we can out right now. At least it's clean. And we'll just run it with no coolant, because all I need to do is move it from right here to up there on the driveway. All right, I'm just gonna leave this guy on there loose. Don't know why, doesn't really matter, because now it has no coolant in it at all, except for in the oil. Now we're gonna fill up the float bowl again. Whatever, good enough. So let's hit the key again and see what happens. go! What did we do? Oh, it's getting thrown on the GoPro. It is throwing crap everywhere. There's definitely something wrong with the water pump. Look at all the oil sludge coming out the top of the engine. All right, I need to drive this thing up onto the driveway where I can clean it off. Dude, that's a disaster. Oh, that's so not good. I'm gonna turn it off. It's at least running. Sounds pretty good too. But man, that's a mess. Oh goodness. Wow, that's terrible. Oh, that's not good. My goodness. Look at that disaster. Where is this coming from? What the heck happened? This thing must have frozen or something, and it broke something bad. Oh my gosh. The last time it ran, it did not do this. God, that's terrible. Milkshake everywhere. Sorry about the environment, because that's not good. Look at that. What a mess. Oh well, I guess I'm gonna try to drive it up onto the driveway and make a mess there too. Wow, that's really bad. It does run though, so that's a win of sorts, but geez. It was dumping stuff out back here, somewhere right there. I don't know where, but man, that is crazy. I've never seen anything like this. This is horrible. Running down the side of the block. But look at that, it was idling, and that counts for a lot. Wow. Anyway, let's fire this thing up and move it, and then get it cleaned up, because that's really not good. It needs the pressure washer now. So it's only fitting that my beer do the exact same thing, but I am drinking Spotted Cow from New Glarus, Wisconsin, which is about 2 hours from where this car was built, so it's fitting. But I think my plan is going to be to unhook the fan belt so the water pump is no longer spinning, because there's something going on with that water pump to where it's flinging this stuff everywhere. So if I make the fan stop spinning, it's at least not gonna fling it everywhere, and I can rinse all this off and then hopefully drive it without making a huge mess. Oh, this is not good. This is so bad. Oh, it's a mess. I am gonna go ahead and put this back on. I managed to get the belt off. I had to cut it because the power steering belt is on top of it, and I believe the power steering still works. And I want to ride in luxury for the 50 or so feet I will be driving this fine machine. I cannot believe how bad it is under here after that. I've never had a car do something like that. So I'm gonna rinse it off a little bit with the hose, considering I have it down here. And then, I don't even know. This has turned into such a big mess, but I'm gonna rinse it off and then I guess fire it up and see if it's slinging that stuff everywhere still. I just had to make it run again. I couldn't just drag it out of the backyard and tear it apart. I needed to do this. For what reason? I don't know. I guess to entertain you guys. So you're welcome, I think. Glad I brought the hose down here. All right, let's fire it up again. Let's see if it's any better. See if I even have to hit the throttle. Actually, it's so bad. This might be the last time it runs. Look, right there. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's absolutely dumping stuff out of the timing cover. Look at that. Oh no. I guess I'll run it till that stops, and then I'll be able to move it. This is so bad. Oh no, there's stuff all over the GoPro lens. I guess it'll find its happy level at some point. But it's running. It actually runs pretty good too. Remarkable considering that's only 4 cylinders. Even if I don't move it, this is still worth it for the entertainment value. Look at the amount of moss on this thing. It's not even supposed to be that color green. Yikes, this is so bad. Oh, is that its last breath possibly? Oh my gosh. Look at it just dumping stuff everywhere. You can hear it cooking on the header down there. Oh, that's gnarly. This is going to require a good bit of cleaning. I don't even have words for this. Yikes. I've made some messes before, but I don't think I've ever made a mess on this level. I mean, this is truly awful. Oh no. Sorry, Mom. Didn't mean to mess up your yard. What do you think, Mobes? You're a mess. What have you been doing? Rolling around? You're all muddy. You need a bath, just like this car does. Oh, goodness. I think it might be time to break out the old toe strap, because driving this thing as is seems a little, yeah, not good. All right, so I think I've made up my mind on what I'm gonna do. I think I'm just gonna try to back this thing up over there, and that way I'll be able to drag it out with the service truck instead of having to hook to the back and then hook to the front. So I'm gonna see if I can at least move it backwards under its own power, and then I'm probably just gonna drag it up the driveway and break out the pressure washer and just go to town on this thing, because this is awful. If it'll fire up one more time, we're gonna drive it under its own power. So let me see how that goes. All right, let's see if the Hornet's got any life left. Well, it's moving. Let me open the door so I can see. All right, let's let it sit for a second and think about what it's done. But it did just move. Jeez, this is such a mess. The noises that this thing is making. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's bad. I will say it's making much less of a mess now, so maybe I will just drive it up there, because that's not nearly as bad as it was. Is there a trail? Oh yeah, there's a little trail. Here's where the car has been sitting for like 2 years. It did drive out of its own grave, but it left a huge mess behind. That's so bad. I need to get a shovel and start cleaning that. Oh, Moby. What have we done? Anyway, cut to the time lapse, because I'm going to clean this up. This is not good. Scientists will claim you cannot mix oil and water. And I can assure you that vehicles that have severe issues do it extremely well, because this is about as mixed as oil and water could ever be. The Hornet is now just a giant blender for oil and water. Jeez, that's gnarly. So gross, so bad. But I got it all scooped up. I guess I got to figure out what I'll do with it. I don't even know. This is like the biggest mess I have ever made. Luckily, the vehicle's coming apart, so cleaning it is not going to be an issue. I'll just have to use a ton of degreaser, but oh, lovely. So I guess it does move, so I think I'm just going to pull it up into the gravel, break out the pressure washer, and clean this thing up. See, it's leaking much less of that goop out now. So I think we've gotten most of the water out of the oil pan. So anyway, yeah, let's pull it up on the driveway and get cleaning. Come here. Come on to the front.
It is not happy with you. Good for you. You tell them.
It's such a mess. So there's a hole down there somewhere that's pumping out all of this coolant and water mixture. It made a milkshake.
Well done.
It's all.
It's well done.
It did move though.
Yeah, I know.
So crazy. So I need your pressure washer because I'm gonna have to blast the crap out of this stuff.
Well,
but it did move, and that counts for a lot.
This is what it should do because it deserves to be heard.
Not sitting in the backyard languishing away.
It's like, this is what you get.
You're right, I deserved it.
You deserve it.
So now that we've got the car pulled up here on the driveway, got a bucket with dish soap in it that I'll fill with water and use an actual towel. And I'm gonna spray the entire front of this thing with purple power because it is so greasy from that oil and water mixture that ended up everywhere. So I'm gonna try to get some of that out of the way. And then we'll break out the pressure washer and just hose it all down because it definitely needs it. This is so bad. I know I keep saying that, but I don't know if it's capturing on video just how bad of a mess this is. I mean, like, literally the worst mess I've ever made on a car, period. Anyway, cut to the time lapse while I get this all cleaned up. All right, well, it's officially dark. I know it's hard to see, but The patina on this car is so good. I forgot just how awesome the patina was when this thing is clean, because you really can't see it when it's covered in mildew and stuff like it was. All the stickers cleaned up pretty nice, except the roadkill sticker's pretty faded. All of those are going to be coming off in the future anyway. Maybe I'll find another hatch for this car actually, considering this has already been replaced. You can see it's two different colors right there. So maybe I'll keep that hatch as kind of a memento to the car if I can find another one. But it's all cleaned up. Now the real test is, will this thing still fire up now that I have completely soaked the entire engine bay, electronics and all, because I pressure washed the engine bay. It needed it. But yeah, the car looks so good now that it's clean. I've always loved the patina on this thing, but I really forgot just how good it was. I will say this door does have some Bondo in it. That's actually super glued on because it was trying to fall off one time. But as a whole, it's looking like its old self again. Now, let's see if it'll fire up with all that water in the engine bay. Yep, it's supposed to rain tonight too, so maybe I'll toss the hood back on it just to kind of protect it. Not that it really matters. This engine is destined to become a coffee table though, because I'd love to have conversations around this engine about the things I did with it. I think that would be really cool. So anyway, let's see if it fires up. I definitely still need to clean the inside because it is an absolute mess in here. But it's like an old friend. Let's see if we are still in luck with this thing. Fired right up still. Oh, headlights still work. That is insane. Still sitting here idling. Not really making a mess anymore too, so that's pretty awesome. Got the headlights on. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Taillights are working. What a good little car. Oh, and then it dies. I still bet it'll fire right up though. So insane. Well, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this episode of Sally's Speed Shop. There is lots more to come with this car. Gonna be tearing it down the rest of the way, getting it ready to put a Hemi in it, along with some really trick suspension and cage work. And basically I'm gonna build the best all-around car I can build out of this station wagon right here. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and as always, I appreciate all the support. Please remember to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button especially. That one helps more than you know, and I'm not just saying that just to say it. Go hit it now. It just takes one click and it helps me a ton. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon.